welcome back to Unsigned Berlin. The episode is coming right at you. I just want to take a moment to introduce a little bit our guest, who is Fyers. She is an artist from Netherlands, I believe, who's now obviously in Berlin, and she was performing and writing with UMG for quite a high level when she was in her late teens. And then she was diagnosed with cancer and had to put everything on hold, her music career and her work. She then continued to work as a therapist for a while as she overcame the health issues connected to her diagnosis and chose to have a child in that time as well, which we discuss in the podcast about her decision making there and how her cancer diagnosis changed her perspective on music and work and how she dealt with that. We talk about her writing, her approach to musicianship and artistry in general. Really fascinating person, has a lot of interesting perspectives and a really incredibly interesting story. And I hope you enjoy the interview. And as always, thanks for watching. If you can share or leave a review, that helps us a lot. And hope you enjoy the episode. Can you start then by talking a little bit about your time when you were writing for UMG? How did you get involved with them and what was your job while you were there?
So basically when was that? Was it 10 years ago? Was it 12 years ago? I don't remember. I was a kid.
Right.
I just, uploaded some stuff on SoundCloud and some covers, some of my original songs, and I had like my iPhone, headphones on Logic on like my computer. Like I know nothing about it was just for fun, right? Yeah. And I was actually still studying medicine,
right? And
just doing it on the side just for fun, because Instagram wasn't big back then. And
was it SoundCloud era times when SoundCloud was like really big and people
SoundCloud was really big, right. And it was, I don't even remember if there was any other platform. I mean, not for music. Maybe I'm not that informed, but I don't know if there was like any other platform where YouTube. I mean, there was a lot of this cover era, like people were just, I don't know, uploading like covers were really cool, live sessions, and they went viral.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it was
really big doing
change.
Like these covers, and I did it, but I wasn't on YouTube or anything, just SoundCloud, and just someone reached out to me and asked like whether it was like my original songs, and I was like, yeah. What do you want? I was like, do you want to come to Berlin and kind of see, show us more? And I was like, sure. And they booked me everything, like train. I was still living in Leipzig back then, and it was my first time ever kind of having a connection in a real music industry, because I never performed in public ever, just like in school or college, like in front of public, but or like karaoke bar. There was one in Leipzig, and so it was got invited for some songwriting camps and writing with other musicians and 4 other musicians. And
when they contacted you, did they tell you what they liked about what you had written, or were they just like, this is cool, come write?
It was like, you have a very nice voice, and and
we want you to
do you have producers? And I'm like, no.
Right.
And how did you do, like, because there was one song, it was just me on like my piano and my vocals. I think I put like some backing vocals and some vocal layers on it, but it was really minimal. I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know how to produce, and I'm like, I did it myself. And it was like, so you produced this yourself? And I'm like,
yes.
I recorded it myself, but doesn't mean like I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
I was 19, so I was like, okay.
Also, music production isn't like a thing people know exists if you aren't like interested in taking music seriously.
No. Like I didn't even, and well, my grandpa taught me a lot of instruments and kind of introduced me to music, but we never really, like produced or even wrote anything together, something like that. So I didn't know like what it meant to produce something. And yeah, I guess that was so good because I had the confidence to kind of put more music out there. Went to Mama Pack and open stages. There was not a lot of them in Leipzig, but there was a lot of them in Berlin. So I kind of I had some friends in Berlin already, and so I went to just perform, and then I met with a promoter, someone from an agency was like, oh, are you interested in like performing as a support for other bands? And I was like, and I thought it was small bands, like local bands who are performing in Berlin. And I was like, I was hungry for performing. I really liked it. So I was like, yeah, why not? And then the next offer, I think it was for, I don't remember. Oh my God, was it for Jessie Ware, I think? And I didn't know her, but she was big, and I was like, okay. And it didn't work out. The management didn't choose me. And then the next one was also someone big. I don't remember who it was. And then they kept asking me if I want to play for these like big musicians, and I was like, oh, so this is the real deal.
Like opening for them.
Opening for them, yes,
crazy.
as a support, and just kept asking me, do you want to play? And my answer was always like, yes, of course. At that time there was no regulations about how they would compensate musicians. I think it just changed in, I don't know, 2020, 2022, I'm not sure. But so they didn't have to compensate us at all. Damn. So it was just for guest lists.
Right. For guest lists
yes.
At your own show.
My own, I mean, of course, we were asked for like our writers and there's always like, I was like, I don't know what I need, like water, and for like, we get like 10 to 15 guest lists, and I was playing with my keyboardist and guitarist that time. Like I basically paid him from my own pocket, because I was like, I just saw it as a, like I got some. I think we didn't call it content back then. It was just some videos, Exposure. I mean, I didn't really make the videos so I can put it on social media. Sure, I thought about it, but it's not just like, okay, I have like to plan a content or something. Like I had like 500, 400 followers. Probably even less when I just started out. So yeah, it was a good experience overall, I guess, coming to Berlin. And
how quickly did that happen? Was that like kind of all within 1 year?
No, I think it was in like a couple of months, and it was pretty fast. Months. It was crazy. It was just like, I didn't even have like, I was studying full time, and I had like a part-time job at this research in institute. Yes. Right. I was like this total nerd, and I'm just like, suddenly someone, there's a producer and a singer as well. He's from somewhere in Nordrhein-Westfalen, and he was, I don't know, this like a German American Idol thing. And it was like, oh, do you want to come here, right? And I was like, just, this is so much fun, like so I was like, sure. So I was taking the train to Düsseldorf, and then back to Berlin, and then back to Leipzig, and kind of just like all over the place. And so I was still studying, and yeah, it was just crazy.
Did you then finish your degree, or did you move here first?
I did because my dad was paying my bills. It was like yeah, okay. I mean, he didn't I don't think he knew that it was that
it's like a weird sort of semi out of touch with like what's happening with young people parents, where it's like, oh, this is cool that it's going well, and that's it, and they don't realize that it's like,
no, it was just really like big. How was your exam? And I was like, yeah, it was fine, like it's not like I was the top 3 or 5 in my class, but like I finished my bachelor's, and then I went back home, and then I did like a clinical observership. I was studying psychology, And it's like I majored in psychology, and then I was like, what do I do? You know? And my dad was like, well, now it's time to do your master's.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this music thing is going so well, you know, why not? And then it was like, yeah, but maybe you could just do both. Like, just do that, and because it's not like I had like any employment or, you know, anything. And yeah, I was like, yeah, was really into it, like psychology. I didn't regret it or anything that I did my master's. And then, yeah, I was just, you know, still doing some music, performing on the side, writing, meeting more people, moving to Berlin. And yeah, I was still doing both.
Yeah.
Until I finished my master's.
Right. At what point did you find out? What point did you get your diagnosis?
It was right after I finished my master's.
Okay.
I was officially a psychologist. I had a full-time job. And it was for me, like, also career-wise, when you're a psychologist, like, you can choose where you want to go. You can be a therapist. You can stay. I was working like in a bank as an HR. You know, like I could stay there. I could do whatever. I could do like more kind of Weiterbildung to something else, like. But then I was diagnosed with cancer, and it was just kind of a survival mode phase, I guess, for the next couple of years, and just put like everything on ice, music wise. I was employed, so I kept my job. I needed my insurance, actually, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it.
Would that be 2019?
No, that was 20. That was 27, end of 2017.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So then you.
Early 2018.
So the priority became work for insurance, and then.
Yes,
so like,
I think I had like one show in 2018 because it was Bishop Briggs.
Right,
like,
and you're not,
who am I to say no to Bishop Briggs? And it was a sold-out show already at Cantina am Berghain, I think.
Right.
I was 3 months. I was already like in and out of the hospital for 3 months, and I was like, I of course I'll do it. Okay, I will do it. I will do the show. Yeah, I think that was no, I actually had another show. I think Noah Kahan. It was not as big as now, I guess. It was a small, not really small show at Lido.
Right.
It's
a fairly big venue.
It's big, but I think he's doing like a stadium thing now,
right,
I guess. And I think he won a Grammy or something. I'm not sure. Yeah. So that was 2018 was the last time I actually had a perform.
Right. Did you continue to do music through that time as well, like just like at home?
Yeah, I think I released Out of My Mind at the end of 2017.
Right.
So it was December 2017, and I was in the middle of, you know, like working on my EP or like recording songs, and everything was just stopped. I couldn't do this anymore. It was just more intense, and I writing, because for me writing is, I don't know, I started writing as just a form of putting my thoughts and emotions out there. I mean, I like not just songs, but actually started as poems and just journals, you know, diary and stuff like that. Yeah, so I never stopped. Now I'm left with, you know, thousands of demos, tiny little demos that I never really, I don't know if I would have a chance to work on them, all of them.
Yeah. It's a good position to be in. to have
It's-
just a bunch of extra songs if you
it's
need.
good, but sometimes you just, oh my God, there's so many. Like, where do I start?
Are they organized, or is it just like voice 001?
I try to organize them, but I'm not organized when it comes to that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not. No,
No, fair enough.
it's a mess. It's a mess. I mean, obviously, I have like, I don't know, 100 of them that I really like, and I had to sort them. Now that since a year I've been back to music, a little bit more than a year actually. It was last summer, 2023. So, a little bit more than a year. I had to, because I had to, find producers and connect with other people, and I do want to make an album or an EP at least. Just sorting, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Yeah. So try to sort them, but it's really all over the place though.
Yeah, no, it's impossible, especially with like, I don't know, the way the phone thing's set up is just, I do the same thing where I have a bunch of voice messages that are just like, not messages, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just like terribly done.
Oh, but I know some people who are like, I don't know, very organized, like my boyfriend, for example. Like, I've never known anyone who's like as organized as him. Also, when it comes to digital files,
Right.
it's crazy.
That's a good trait for a producer.
It is. It is.
When I first downloaded Ableton, I didn't know how like the file structure works, and it just makes a folder which is your project folder, and then it has all of the like, this is like the Ableton file, and then all of the audio files. And I just did one, and I was making like a bunch of beats every day, so it's just like in one folder, and I still use the same folder, and it's like 20 gigabytes plus of just like
God.
audio files, and I don't know how to organize it. It's too late now.
It's exactly. It's
Yeah,
too late
I just have to
now.
buy a bunch of storage for my laptop.
Oh
But,
my God.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think from the experience of having to stop everything and deal with a very real situation, do you feel like your writing changed through that process?
My writing, not so much.
No?
I don't think so. I think the way, like, my connection to music or my connection to writing is always been very emotional. It's very sentimental. It's very confessional.
Right.
And it has always been like that. And those 4 or 5 years, what I call like this just survival mode phase, it was the same.
Right.
Maybe it definitely changed me in many, many ways. But not so much my writing. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
So coming out of that survival phase, then are you happy to talk about having a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Then you chose to have a kid around, when would that be, like 2020?
2020, no, it was after I was diagnosed. I was still, obviously they wanted to do like surgery and everything, and I knew I wanted to have a kid, but who thought about having a kid at like 24? You know, like, sure, you probably like thought about it, but it's not like you planned it, or maybe you already have like a partner, like a long-term partner, and you talked about it, but you probably, at least like not for our generations, you know, like
it's like the
20,
at some point.
at some point, maybe do you want to have a kid, you know,
Yeah.
like, or like kids are cute, or are they not cute, or are we gonna have a dog for us? Like, it's since I guess it's everybody feels the same, and I knew after my diagnosis that I really couldn't live with the fact that I might not be able to have a kid.
Right.
And it was just 3 months of this I kind of cut myself out of everything and everyone. I was just at home. My then partner was home, obviously. I was my best friend was living somewhere else. She wasn't even in the country at that time. And for those 3 months, I was just like, can I actually live with this?
Of not having
this risk.
Kid.
And I couldn't. So it might seem crazy, and then I talked to my doctors, and some of them were supportive and some of them were not. That I was like, I want to have a baby. I want to have a baby before you do the surgery or you start any treatment. I don't want to do that. And obviously it didn't work out right away. Like you can just get pregnant.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure, some people are blessed and get like, could get pregnant very easily,
Like,
but
small percentage. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't even know that. I was like, thought like, okay, you could get pregnant, like anytime. And and I didn't know that for most people, they have to try for a couple of years or a month until you could get pregnant. And obviously it took a while with me because of my health problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, I finally, it was 2018, end of 2018, when I was finally pregnant. And then I had a baby in 2019, end of 2019.
Mm-hmm. At the same time as dealing with all the health.
Yes.
Health issues.
I mean, I gave birth and I immediately had my treatment and everything.
Wow.
And I mean, I knew that it was going to be hard. It was going to be intense. It was going to be not easy, because like just parenthood alone is already a lot. On top of it, you have like medical condition or like a chronic illness or whatever. But what I didn't know that COVID was going to happen.
True. Terrible times.
It was early 2022. Yeah. I think it was, we already had some info, like some news during Christmas. I remember like a Christmas gathering 2019. It was already like, there's this thing in China.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm like.
But that's always like, whatever,
Yeah.
Illnesses happen in different places. Like it doesn't, yeah.
And by early 2020, we were like at home, like nothing, mask, and like it was crazy. So that was not, I mean, I was not the only one, obviously, nobody expected that to happen, or like it's a pandemic. But that's on top of everything.
Yeah.
And
were you living with your partner at that time?
Yes.
How long had you guys been together before that?
Before that, I think 5 years.
Oh, okay.
4.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, we knew each other for a while, and we were together for, I think, 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was, I mean, you have a home already, so it's not like we have enough space for the kid. And but it was just obviously when you need, like, I don't know, childcare, and it was okay with a kid, and I was immunocompromised.
Yeah, true.
I couldn't just go meet with strangers, or like, we don't know, like taking all these precautions. And hospitals were also like, if it's not an emergency, then you can't get a surgery. And I was not the only one. I knew that there are people who are like, I don't know, having a brain tumor and couldn't get a surgery because it's not
emergency, because you can do it in 6 months.
Exactly.
Or in 2 weeks, because it was always like, in 2 weeks it'll be.
It will be different, but it wasn't. Like, it's just crazy. But I mean, sure, they didn't know about this, like and getting like what is it called, like the shot,
the vaccine,
like a vaccine. It was also kind of a drama, because I thought, like, in the beginning, okay, might be a good idea. I don't even know, but it seems like it's a good idea. And they prioritize like the medical workers, and then the old people first, and then like the people who are immunocompromised will actually come after later. And I feel like, sure, I trust them, with their judgment, but it was just kind of a lot of things that was affecting just your daily life, and not just me, obviously, everybody else's too. But I feel like that time was I hope it will never happen again.
Yeah, well,
it was
almost definitely won't happen in that exact situation, because it's like a lot of terrible situations. Well, not terrible situations, but you know what I mean, like difficult situations.
Yeah, and it was also affecting like a lot of people's jobs and careers, right? Like, I mean, in music, it was.
What did your partner at the time do for work?
He was in IT.
Oh, okay. And you were doing therapy.
So exactly. So for me, I could do online, and
at least that's like okay.
Those are still okay, But just, and when you look around you, it's just like restaurants or whatever. They were all struggling, or like all the music venues, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, musicians generally, I mean, nobody's going on. We're not even allowed to be in like
Groups of like 5. Whoa.
yeah, I mean, how are you supposed to go to concerts?
Yeah.
And or yeah, I mean, I can't really imagine if I were a musician or had to do like
Yeah.
just if my life depends on it. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's a really
Horrible.
difficult spot to be in.
Yeah.
At what point did you decide to get back into music? Because I feel like a lot of people, it's very easy to find excuses, especially for music, because it's like, it's really vulnerable, especially being an artist, like being a producer. Everyone finds excuses for doing anything, and being producers a little bit like that. But for being an artist, it's like, well, I want it to be perfect. I want it to be like this right time. It's like risky, so I want to do this and this. At what point did you decide I could start doing music again?
I guess if I can be honest, it was when I realized I was unhappy with doing my daily job.
Right.
You know, like I love psychology. Like
Right.
I chose, you know, that field.
Yeah.
I just realized that I'm not made for it.
Mm-hmm.
I was good. I mean, being good, if you can be good at something, but still, you still can choose that it's not something that you want to do for the rest of your life, you know, like some, I just knew like I never stopped writing, like I told you, but going to work every morning and thinking that having to do that job, and it was like I don't think this is for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't really, I don't know, weirdly enough, I didn't really think about looking for an alternative because I did already. Like I feel like the first time when I was like, okay, what do I want to do? Which field, like which specialization or whatever, like what do I want to do? I already asked myself that question a long time ago. And then I just knew I had to quit my job.
Right.
And I want to do music. And I didn't know what I would do exactly in music. Like I now have a label, and I'm kind of like I have my own team. And that wasn't my plan when I was like, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And it's like, no, I just knew like I wasn't happy. I was just I'm gonna stop. Like it's not just from, you know, today to tomorrow. I was talking to my boyfriend, my best friends, and just seeking their
advice.
Their advice.
Or their thoughts, yeah.
Or their thoughts, like it's not gonna be easy. And I was like, and I was also working more than I guess what I normally would have to, because I had my own practice.
Right.
And it's always like when you're self-employed, you always do more, right? You have to do this and this and this and this, and so it was never really like 40 hours a week. It was always more, and it was definitely not good for my health. And on top of that, I wasn't happy doing it. I wasn't feeling like fulfilled anymore. So everybody was also agreeing with me that I should take the chance and just do this. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna find people I can work with, and keep sorting my demos, my songs, and like writing new songs, trying to meet new people, knocking on, you know, the doors and say like, hey, I am back to music. And that was it. That was my plan. But I didn't know a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's also like when you're starting something, it doesn't really make sense to have a plan. Because if your plan, for example, is like, oh, I'm going to go knock on these doors, and everyone says no, then you're like, okay, well, that went wrong. But if you're kind of just like, I'm going to try, then like that can't go wrong, because it's just...
Yeah, like, but I guess, I mean, I struggled with perfectionism in the past. I guess maybe it's only in the past couple of years, I would say 4 or 5 years, is when I try to not be that person anymore who's a perfectionist. It's easy. I guess it was easier for me to do, or to change, or to grow from that because of my condition.
Right.
So when you're in a survival mode, of course you only try to do what you can and not what you want to do, right? So I was kind of forced to be like, this is enough. Like you don't have to be perfect. You're not that person anymore. You couldn't run like a marathon, or I mean, I've never run a marathon, but half a marathon. You just can't be that person anymore. So, but it doesn't mean your life will suck, like you can still be active, for example. Like maybe you won't be that person, or maybe you will. You don't know, maybe you will be, but just kind of, I guess the same approach, me approaching changing my career was the same, just not based on this thinking that I would be the best anymore, like the best in the field or in the class, or planning my comeback to music like meticulously, so that the outcome will be, I mean, it's not a guarantee, obviously. Just having the right people around you who support your decision, and that you feel safe with, and taking your own way, that was good enough for me.
It's also a lot of freedom in that, of not wanting to be the best, not wanting to have everything perfect, because it's like, well, I can do it to the level that I enjoy it, and then it can be done. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a privilege to be in this position.
Yeah.
Having that, I was raised by a single dad, who is still obsessed with achievements, and like, I mean, in a it's not that he wanted the best for me.
Yeah.
That's why he wanted me to succeed and to be the best in the class, to be this, to be that. But I was under so much pressure, and I guess at some point I realized that it's not how I want to live anymore.
Yeah.
And work with my therapist was not easy, but yeah, it's really nice.
I have a similar kind of experience of my parents being very like, you have to be the best of all of these things, but I feel now I'm grateful for it, because it means that I did a bunch of really hard work when I was growing up, especially like with music stuff as well, and now those are like skills that are useful, or trying to be really good at sports for competitions and stuff, and now I know how to exercise properly, and it's like part of my routine, so I don't have to really consciously be like, oh, I should be doing exercise. It's just like something I do as part of life. So I'm kind of like, I'm grateful for it, and also for the experience of it being really stressful and like way too much, and then now I know I don't like that, so I like
so you learn something from it.
Exactly.
I mean, they're always like a kind of silver lining from something like that, Yeah.
Just when my laptop turned off. With starting music and releasing music, which does have to be a polished, doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be something you're really proud of, and then doing performances and everything. How calculated are you in doing that? Is it a lot of just like self-expression, and then this turns out how it turns out, or is it kind of like, this is the image I want to portray because these are the emotions that I'm focusing on, or this is the world I want to create?
I feel like it depends on the song or on the art, for whatever it is. For me, since I'm only a songwriter and singer, it's the song.
So for example, for Feelings, how would you say?
It was, for Feelings is a very weird song. So I wrote it in like 5 minutes.
Right.
In one sitting. I just knew that I documented it on Instagram. So, because I just turned on like my, I recorded it on my voice note. And I had like already the melody and whatever. So in 5 minutes, I had already the most important melodies, and in 10 minutes, the song was done.
Right.
And I just put it on Instagram, like I cut it, and you can see like the timestamps, obviously. And then I recorded like some videos of me singing it, and it was one of the songs that performed really well on the social media.
Yeah.
People liked it, and I love the song as well. And when I was kind of shopping for producers, everybody wanted to have that song.
That's a good feeling.
And I didn't know that it was like, this is a good indicator for a song, you know, like everybody was just really into it. The thing is, production wise, I only knew that I wanted to have like an electric guitar
Right.
in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how the song would be. Like, I know like it's kind of like having a certain vibe,
Mm-hmm.
but everybody else is so random. Like
Right.
everything else is so random. Like I didn't know what kind of kick or like
Mm-hmm.
what do I want, what sound exactly in this. We had the structure, we have the song, it's done. And it was a long process to get it into there. And now I realize there are other songs that it just immediately I know, okay, synthwave, you know,
Right.
this is a structure. I want it to be, I don't know, chaotic, but everything else we get on the first month or something. And for
Mm-hmm.
feelings, it took us like, I don't know, 8 months.
Right.
Right? But I think you just know that it's not right yet.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's also, I don't know, I mean, I got lucky, I think, to meet my producer,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know, she could read me like a book.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's also kind of like, you know, in a friendship or in a romantic relationship, you just meet someone that you're so compatible with, and
Yeah.
this is also someone that you can really professionally be
Mm-hmm.
compatible with. And if I don't, most of the time, I would say always, if I don't see that right, she feels the same.
Right.
Like, it's not right. It's not the right kick. And I was like, yeah, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was, yeah, I'm just feeling really grateful that I have her,
Yeah.
and this also for composing.
And you
Sharing.
met her via the like Tinder for musicians type of app
Yes,
where you like trying to
Vamper.
meet professionals.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you meet other people on that?
Yes.
How was that experience?
I met my boyfriend.
Oh damn.
Yes. So yeah, I met some people
Mm-hmm.
through that. Now that I think about it, there are some people that I met just through Facebook groups and from, you know, a friend of a friend of a friend,
Yeah.
or from events. But yeah, I connected with a lot of cool people on
Cool.
the
That's
platform.
a good experience. I wasn't interested in that because I always felt like it'd be really similar with dating, where it's like if you're meeting up, which is also something I've never done, so maybe I'm just completely making up. But if you're meeting up with an expectation of this is going to be a relationship or this is going to be a professional relationship or whatever, then it puts like a weird pressure on getting to know someone.
Yeah.
But maybe that's.
But
maybe
it's
that's completely
also
not
like
true.
I met some people online just from Instagram, for example. Like producers have reached out to me and say like, I like your stuff and
Yeah.
let's meet. I feel like it's in the end the same,
Yeah,
because
true.
you have your first date and you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not big on online dating either. Like I tried it obviously, and my friends who were single and were dating already more before I was dating. They were like, oh yeah, it sucks, you know, like
Yeah.
it's so annoying and you don't know then this and this. I'm so tired online dating, and my clients as well. And then I was in that pool and I'm like, okay, no. But I feel like it's the same. I don't really feel the difference in, because obviously when someone reached out to you on like social media, you also checked out their stuff, you
Yeah.
know, like their references or like what they already put out there, and it's the same like Vampire, I guess. Or maybe, yeah, that's probably the main difference with online dating, because
Yeah.
you don't have references
True.
necessarily,
Yeah.
you know, it's just
Sorry, where were we? Oh yeah,
dating.
the dating. Yeah. Do you from your work as a therapist, do you have any thoughts on online dating? Because like I've been in a relationship for 2 years, and before that it was COVID, so I like used Tinder but for friends, and then before that I was in school, so it's like you date people in
People
school.
from, yeah.
Yeah. Is it really very prevalent?
I mean, it's not the same time as it's like, I mean, obviously I was I was a baby 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but it's different, right? Like you're not just looking for. I mean, there are also Bumble for friends, you know,
Mm-hmm.
friendships, and you also could use these things for like. I mean, now they make this Vampire for musicians, right, and also for other stuff. Or I guess there are also some for just professional relationships or like looking for co-founders or
Right.
whatever. Just the way people meet. Now, we would like to say that, okay, I would like to meet someone more organically or like
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But I guess having more options, having these options to kind of check out someone and know a little bit more of their life than just approaching someone, you know, out cold in a bar.
Yeah.
People don't take that anymore. I mean, before people didn't have these options,
Yeah.
right? So how else would I make friends? How else would I, you know, find like someone to
Yeah.
date? You know, so it's more, and I guess it's convenient, but it also has it kind of downs. What I don't like, it's they. First of all, what you see is just, I don't know, a picture, age.
Mm-hmm.
You can filter, or maybe you can filter some interests, but I don't think you see their interest on the first.
Right.
You know, it's always like how they look, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I won't lie, everyone is superficial to a certain degree.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
of course, you know, you see what you
It's
see.
also any like even apart from the superficial thing, which I guess would apply in a bar or whatever. It's just like the first
Sure.
information you see. So it's like, of course, you use it.
Sure, but
Yeah.
that's the only thing, right? Like you
Mhm.
probably would meet with people in person. You go, if you, let's say you go out more, you go to like, I don't know, join a sports club or a run
Yeah.
club, or meet with your friends who are meeting with their friends at the bar. You met with people, you talk to them. So
Mhm.
maybe it's not just how they look that would lead
Right.
you to be interested in this person, but also maybe because you had like some kind of conversation, or
Yeah.
you know, see how they treat other people, or
Mhm.
it's
True.
just there's more information. And this is what I don't like from
Mhm.
online dating, I
Yeah.
guess.
Interesting.
And
Also, I guess from meeting people in real life, you have an immediate shared interest because you're in the same place. Like,
yeah,
if you meet at a tennis club or whatever, then it's like, oh, you both like tennis. Or if you
Yeah.
meet at a bar, then it's like, well, you both like probably socializing.
yeah,
So that's kind of like an immediate. This something that is shared between you, which maybe doesn't come
yeah.
on social media, on dating apps.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Social media.
so anyway, completely
Don't
off
even
topic,
get me
but,
started on social media.
well, social media is something you kind of have to engage with for
Oh my
being
God,
an
yes.
artist, but it depends how you treat it, but you can just sort of treat it as a way to express yourself. And one thing that I've found interesting when I was doing my research for this was your website with the song breakdown for Feelings,
Oh yeah.
which like through your link in bio, which is a whole like experience of yeah, I don't know, go check it out if you're listening. But how did you put that together? Did you like, because you guess you wrote the song really quickly, did you
Mhm.
then like analyze it? What was your approach to putting together that
What's the
experience?
marketing strategy?
What's
for
the
this
marketing
one?
strategy, but also like what were you trying to do with having that website? Because it's more than just uploading the lyrics. Like
Yeah.
there's definitely more to it.
For me, it's like kind of, okay, so if you find a musician online or whatever, if you discover someone new, for me at least, I want to know, okay, what other songs, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they're writing. Maybe I like this one, and maybe I would like the other one, or their album or whatever. And I also would like to check maybe you check their social media, or like what they do before, artists they're collaborating with, something that's kind of personal, or maybe they're funny, you know, maybe
Yeah.
whatever, maybe they're cute, maybe this, and kind of like, how do I want to introduce myself?
Right.
That was like what I asked, like, what do people, like, how can I, when people want to get to know me or my music, obviously I don't have the ability to just put like the whole EP out there, or like 5 songs at the same
Right.
time. I also want to release it as singles. So I will have one song out after not bringing anything in like 7 years, 6 years out. How do I tell them like who I am?
Yeah.
And not in a way that, you know, I mean, obviously there's a Spotify bio or this and that. They can see what I like or whatever from social media. I kind of want to, when someone asks like, why do you do music? I always ask like, it's because I like writing. I didn't even write any music before I started with writing like poems and, you know, other stuff. That's actually what I wanna show to people, that it's more than the music that I write, like the lyrics. They actually mean something. And there's an emotions, like a lot of emotions there that I want to convey, and that I hope that people would like and can relate to. 'Cause yeah, I mean, that's how I also started writing, right? I saw other people, you know, work in art and writing all these books, and I read them and I was like, okay, I'm not alone. You know, like I feel the same, and I couldn't connect with, I don't know, other people in my life in that way. I had my parents, my friends, or whatever. Like my childhood was kind of a mess, and I often felt really lonely. And when I read these books, and I was like, oh, they felt the same, kind of like, I'm not alone. I don't know what this woman is, but like, I'm not alone. And I could actually, when I write something, maybe in hope that someone out there was feeling like kind of on their own with that experience, kind of, maybe they could listen, maybe they listen to my music and it's like, I feel exactly like this, and it makes me feel good not to be alone.
Yeah, cool. We've done about 45 minutes. I think that's
Oh
maybe
my
a nice
God.
place to end. This will come out basically whenever you want it to come out. So is there
Sure.
anything you want to promote?
Oh my God, that's so much. Well, the next single is coming in February.
Cool.
It's called Lost My Faith.
Mm-hmm.
Still the same vibe, like feelings. It still tells a story. So everything, like the first 5 songs that are coming out, there's like a storyline to it.
Cool.
So yeah, if you wanna know how the story goes, you should listen.
Nice. We'll put all the links in the description. Thank you everyone for watching or listening. If you can share to someone who might find this interesting, and leave a review, that helps us a lot for algorithm purposes, but also so we can improve the podcast. And of course, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.